Here are the only 5 hacks that you need if you're trying to get that instant business loan for your startup, even if you have bad credit. So step number 1, you need to clarify how much money you need. Boss, my question to you is, you're looking for a same-day business loan. You're looking for an instant business loan for your startup, but how much you need? And the thing is, I'm not asking about the amount already. I'm asking about how the calculation led you to that amount. So the whole thing is that you might actually say, I need $50,000. Okay, you've done your math. You're pretty clear about your math. You put things on a piece of paper, okay, or you have your Excel spreadsheet, okay. But the question is, if you want to actually boost your chances of approval for that loan, you need to justify why it is $49,000 and not $55,000. Why is it $100,000 that you need versus $23,000? It's not about just throwing numbers and just hoping that the lender will approve you. I want you to stop doing that, because we have a lot of small business owners who have no idea how the whole process works, and people just later on they come back and say, yeah, blah, 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 blah. They denied my ass again. Well, because you have not applied the proper way, boss. This is very simple, nothing complicated here. So when I say you have to clarify how much money you need, you have to actually be sure to the penny of the amount that you need, okay? And there are differences when we talk about how much money you need. You have to talk about, do you need the money in the short run? Like, you have to have what we call a tiered sort of process in terms of the chronology. So do you need the whole cash because you want an instant business loan? Okay. Are you going to use the whole money, like the whole amount right away? Or you will use maybe 1/3 in 1 month, the second third in 2 months, and the third part of the loan 3 months from now. So this is also very important, because this will actually let the lender know a little bit about the kind of business you're trying to run and the kind of same-day business loan to actually grant you for, okay? Remember that in general, when we talk about how much money you need, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. How much do you need ideally? And if you cannot get that amount, what's the minimum you would be willing to take? Those are quintessential questions that you need to answer, okay? So how much you need ideally, and what's your plan B? The second thing you need to do here is that, so first thing, you want to clarify how much money you need. Second thing is you want to indicate what you need the money for. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. I'm really happy to have you here. You are fantastic. You are wonderful. Thank you so much. So when I'm talking to you about indicating what you need the money for, the lender is trying to make sure that you're not using the cash just for, let's say, a non-important motive, right? You got to have a specific goal, and that goal must help you generate more revenue, because the lender, at the end of the day, he or she is just more interested in getting repaid, right? They don't want to give you the cash and then they have to chase your sorry broke ass, down the line, asking, calling you, and you trying to ghost them and whatnot. No. So when we talk about getting a same-day business loan for a startup, you can use the cash for a lot of things. You can use the cash to expand operations, right? Let's say you just started your business, and after 2 or 3 months, you realize, hey, listen, I'm just surviving here, okay? I don't have the cash. My personal savings are used up. I have no money. I have no more money to run this business. So you can seek a same-day business loan. That's one way of using the cash. You can use the cash also, or you can use the cash to replace or upgrade equipment. Let's say you have a startup, and then you have an office equipment that really has been sitting there for 20 years. You had a friend of yours or a family member or whatnot. They actually ceded the ownership of very old machinery to you, very old office furniture to you, and you just like, I'm gonna take it anyway. But you realize that it's not really appropriate anymore. So you can use a same-day instant loan for your startup to actually replace or upgrade equipment. You can also use this kind of cash to purchase inventory, right? So if you're running a new business and you know that the sales are winning, you have talked to potential customers, You've done all the shows on the road, the road shows, whatever, and clients are just ready to buy from you, but you need to purchase inventory first, and you don't have the cash. So a same-day startup business loan can provide the cash you need to purchase inventory real fast. And another reason why you might need to have an instant business loan is if you're trying to bolster cash flow. So what does that mean? That means that the money that you are generating right now is not sufficient. So basically, you're looking at your cash inflows and cash outflows, and you realize, hey, listen, I can't survive on this. Let's say, for instance, I'm giving an example. Okay, hypothetically, you are generating 10 grand every month, sales, and then you realize that your expenses are around 17 grand, 18 grand. So you actually survived the first 3 months because you were able to plug the gap, the 8,000 extra with your own savings, right? But you realize this is not a sustainable situation because you can't just try to bail out your own business with your own cash, because otherwise, in the long run, both you and your business will go broke. So when you start a business, the idea is not about you. The idea is not for you to go broke. The idea is for you to actually polish up, to buttress your financial wealth, your personal wealth, rather. So you can use a same-day cash flow loan to actually bolster your liquidity. You could also use an instant business loan to hire and train staff. I'm just actually explaining to you a lot of things, a lot of reasons why you might want to get the money, because the lender is going to ask you. The lender will ask you, why do you need the money for? So you talk about hiring and training new staff. If you are in an industry where you know that the personnel are very important, personnel are rare, the skill set you're trying to zero in on are very rare, so people are expensive to hire and train, then you might want to get a same-day business loan for your startup to get the extra cash you need. Okay, so those are the 5 elements. So let me just repeat them. If a lender asks you, what do you need the money for? You can say, I want to expand operations for my startup. I want to replace or upgrade equipment. I want to purchase inventory. I want to bolster cash flow. Or I want to hire and train new staff. Obviously, this list is not exhaustive. You probably have a reason that I haven't listed here. But again, I'm just giving you the foundation of the 5 most, I think, the most appropriate uses of a startup business loan, especially if you're looking for instant business loan. Step number 4, you need to actually explain to, step number 3, you need to show that you can repay the loan. By the way, son, daughter, I'm having a conversation with you. Today's topic is, how do you get an instant business loan for a startup with bad credit? Okay, instant business loan. We're not asking for a small loan here. We're asking for something gigantic, something consequential. Okay, and so you need to show that you can repay the loan, because the lender is never going to grant you the loan that you're asking for if they see that you have no ability, either on paper or in appearance, to repay the loan. And sometimes what we tell our business clients is, when you have conversations with a lender, you can actually tell that, like, you can trust your gut that says, you know what, I don't think I'll get this loan. So when that's the case, what you want to do is you want to pivot a little bit. You want to pivot how? You want to pivot downward. So you want to reduce the loan amount that you were expecting. So let's say you were confident, all confident, you went and said, listen, I would like to have a 30 grand loan, right? Okay. But when you start having conversations with the lender, you realize that the lender's opinion is different, because they have analyzed your financials, they have analyzed your industry, they have analyzed your internal and external factors, and they realize that this is not really going to happen. They're not going to give you the 30 grand. They'll probably give you $15,000 or $10,000. So at that point, it's up to you to say, listen, I think I'm cool with that. Or, no, I'm not interested. If I'm getting 1/3 of the loan amount that I originally expected, then I'm just out of the whole deal. So that's a decision that you have to actually think about. Okay. and you can actually maybe bring an extra party, a third party, a second party into the whole equation. So if you have someone who has a better credit score than you, who is financially healthier than your business, than your startup, then if you have that person as a co-signer or as a co-borrower, this could actually bolster your chances of being approved. So when we talk about your ability to repay the loan, you have to talk to the lender about the frequency of payments and also your debt service coverage ratio. Frequency of payments, because you have to tell the lender that, hey, listen, I'll have enough revenue to actually repay you every month, every quarter, every 2 weeks. And when we talk about your debt service coverage ratio, this is kind of similar to your DTI. It's another liquidity or calculation ratio that tells the lender or investors in general that you have you can take on more debt, that you can manage your current debt. Step number 4, you need to contact the right lender. You know, boss, when we talk about a startup business loan, an instant business loan, you can't just like, I'm gonna go to a bank, I'm gonna go to a credit union, I'll go to an online lender, I'll go to my local nonprofit lender. Hey, listen, no, boss. The thing here is that you gotta follow a certain formula. There's a certain process you need to follow. If you're trying to really get this kind of loan, you need to contact the right lender. And I can tell you right now, when we talk about instant business loan for a startup with bad credit, you have 3 things in that phrase. You have 3 elements in that phrase that disqualify automatically banks and credit unions. So first you're talking about same day business loan. Number 2, you were speaking about a startup. And number 3, you were speaking about a startup with bad credit. This trifecta is something that no bank or credit union is interested in, ever. So don't you try to waste your time and the bank's time and the credit union's time by trying to apply. No. So you want to actually look further up in terms of the kind of litany of lenders who will actually be comfortable lending to you. So you have online lenders and you have alternative lenders. So when we talk about alternative lenders, for example, you have the Smart Bays of the world, the Kalamata Group of the world, the Coastal Funding of the world. You have a constellation, a smorgasbord of lenders who will be willing to actually work with you. Same thing with online lenders, okay? And also don't forget, when we talk about same day instant business loan, you have several loan options here. You have business lines of credit, you have micro loans, you have asset-based loans, you have business credit cards, among other things. In other words, if you do not have the business loan that you're looking for, maybe a credit card, maybe a business credit card will do. I just want you to keep your options open. You also have to think about other same-day business loans. You have short-term loans, you have business lines of credit, you have merchant cash advances, and you also have invoice financing arrangements. Very important. Don't forget also equipment financing arrangements. Number 5, I want you to plan your application properly. Okay, this is really important. When we talk about, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about instant business loan for a startup with bad credit. How do you actually qualify? Okay, and so you need to plan your application properly, boss. The reason is that you want to boost your chances of approval, right? Okay. Everything starts with actually starting a conversation with the lender. Do not apply and then later on they start asking you a question. They start asking you additional documentation. So that's when you actually start talking to them. No, you want to pick up the phone. So once you have a zeroed in on the specific lender you want to talk to, you want to start a conversation in terms of, hey, listen, what are the requirements? Can I qualify based on my startup? Am I in the right industry, quote unquote, right industry for you? Okay, for your loan book, do I qualify? And they'll let you know. They'll definitely let you know. They'll let you know whether they're interested in your application, whether they believe you have a chance. Okay, and it's one of those conversations you never want to take it personally. Who cares if they say things about your industry that you don't like? Who cares? They have no idea what kind of industry you're in. They have no idea that there is money to be made in that industry. Okay, they might be thinking, well, this is a dead industry, but you know that it ain't so. So it's all about a give and take, right? You want to have a conversation with the lender, so okay, this is what they actually believe about my industry. That's okay. And when you have a conversation with the lender, in terms of applying properly for the same day business loan for your startup, you can actually determine your timeline for application, actually agree on the timeline also for approval and release of funds. Once you are approved, you have the time also to check your credit score. So when I'm talking about planning your application properly, I'm just making sure that you also check your credit score. This is quite essential, okay? Especially if you're applying for a business loan for your startup without EIN, and then I want you to be sure that your social will be one source of information gathering. Okay, in other words, the lender will actually do a hard pull on your social. What am I saying here? A hard pull on your credit, okay? And also think about always comparing lenders. Another important part when it comes to planning your application properly is basically to prepare documents that relate to the loan application itself. Okay, so every document is important. This is actually the section where you have to think about your business plan. Okay, this is the section where you have to think about your company's, your startup projected financial statements. Okay, so it's basically the same thing as your estimated financial statements, right? So you talk a little bit about your business, where you see the business 5 years from now, 5 months from now, 1 year from now. It's all about a prospective analysis. Okay, so you talk about the business going forward. And the thing is that same-day lenders may impose less comprehensive application requirements than other financial institutions, right? But they still require information about annual revenue and existing financing. What does that mean? It means that they are really curious about what additional loans you currently have. This harks back to what I said earlier about your debt service coverage ratio, kind of similar to your DTI. All right. So simply because you're a startup doesn't mean that you don't have debts. You probably have more than assets. So if that's the case, in case you have negative net worth at the business level, negative equity, then the same day lenders might actually look at your application a little more thoroughly and with more, I would say, with some reticence, some reluctance to actually grant you the funds that you're looking for. Okay, so I want you to prepare those documents. And once you do it, just submit the application. That's all. Submit the application. If they tell you to actually submit the application online via email on a company's website, they probably will let you. I mean, you can even submit the application over the phone. Not submit, but you can have a conversation with the rep, and the rep will take your information, and then he or she can apply for you. Okay, so all possibilities are on the table. It's up to you to see which one works for you. Okay, but make sure, one thing I need to insist on here, make sure you have the contact number and the name and email and anything else about the rep with whom you have been speaking. Very, very important, because God forbid something were to happen, that rep leaves the company. You don't want to start over. It's always important to have to archive your own paperwork, just in case. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about instant business loans for a startup with bad credit. How do you get it? So clarify how much you need. Indicate what you need the money for. Show you can repay the loan. Contact the right lender. And plan your application properly. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.